I've got good news and bad news. Hey folks, it's Executive Director Kathleen Thompson. And the good news is that dozens of Texans have decided to invest in their own backyard in honest, independent Texas reporting and messaging that's year-round, not campaign cycle to cycle. Every day since we launched our summer membership drive, someone new has signed up. If just 10% of our audience donated $10 a month, they'd keep Progress Texas from going on a permanent vacation. The bad news is you might not be one of those new donors. If you've been waiting, would you please put the dishes down? Would you please stop where you're on the sidewalk? Please invest right now. You'll be so glad you did. Thank you.
This isn't my seat. This seat belongs to the people of the state of Texas. Until the people of the state of Texas tell me to go away, I will stay here and fight with everything that I have. This is not about me. This is not about Democrats. This is not about political power. This is about protecting what we believe and love about America. If you believe in this country, stand up for it before it's gone, before Donald Trump and Greg Abbott steals all of it.
Texas State House Minority Leader Gene Wu of Houston there from points undisclosed out of state yesterday as the third day of the Texas quorum break begins. It's Wednesday, August 6th. 2025, and this is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch, rapid response on the breaking news stories Texas progressives need to know. I'm Chris Mosier. Texas Republican leaders are doing all they can to retake the offensive in the standoff over new congressional maps ordered by Donald Trump to help him maintain control over the U.S. House of Representatives after next year's midterm elections. Yesterday, as we were fielding reports from Democratic lawmakers who have gained the national media spotlight and skipping the state to bring the Trump power grab in Texas to at least a temporary halt, came the news that senior Senator John Cornyn, lately licking the leather right off of Donald Trump's loafers in his attempt to ingratiate himself to the MAGA Texas Republican primary voting base ahead of that same election, had called on the FBI to intervene, track down, capture, and deliver those Democrats back to Texas. In a letter to Trump FBI Director and deep state conspiracist Kash Patel, such a highly unusual and partisan use of federal agents would very likely set up a standoff between those agents and the governors of the Democratic states in which the Texas House Dems are sheltering. All of this hinges on Governor Greg Abbott's constructed narrative of those Dems committing bribery in the course of accepting public financial help to offset fines levied against them for being absent from the chamber and expenses related to their travel. A rich narrative indeed, coming from a Texas state government featuring out-of-state billionaires writing multi-million-dollar checks in exchange for private school vouchers, and activist conservative PACs writing multi-million-dollar checks to ensure Ken Paxton's impeachment acquittal. But I digress. The FBI hasn't publicly responded to Cornyn's request, but Trump seemed to dig the idea of sending federal goons after the Dems when asked about it yesterday, in addition to a remark that his party is, quote, entitled to more congressional seats in Texas. Ken Paxton made the next move. Aron Torres of the Dallas Morning News says our illustrious AG has said he will ask state judges to declare the quorum-breaking Democrats' House seats vacant if those members aren't present at the Capitol on Friday, arguing that those seats have been abandoned. Should he get compliance from the courts, Governor Abbott would have a lane to call special elections to replace those lawmakers, very few of whom are representing competitive districts. Thus, there are very few partisan flip opportunities here, and any ruling made on this would likely have to wind its way all the way up to the state Supreme Court. Then a bit later yesterday came the word that Governor Abbott is underway with a highly creative legal push to unseat Minority Leader Gene Wu of Houston from back at the top there, asking the Texas Supreme Court to remove Rep. Wu by 5 p.m. tomorrow, Thursday. Also here from the Dallas Morning News, Governor Abbott called Rep. Wu, quote, the ringleader of the derelict Democrats, which sounds like a great name for a band, but I once again digress. Rep. Wu says in a statement that he has not committed, quote, an abandonment of my office. It was a fulfillment of my oath. Unable to defend his corrupt agenda on its merits, Greg Abbott now desperately seeks to silence my dissent by removing a duly elected official from office. History will judge this moment. It will show a governor who used the law as a weapon to silence his people, and it will show those of us who stood for a higher principle, unquote. From the Texas Tribune and Eleanor Klibanoff, this all set up a pinch point yesterday between Paxton and Abbott, as Paxton followed Abbott's emergency petition to the Texas Supreme Court by sending his own graciously worded letter arguing that Governor Abbott lacks the authority to request Rep. Wu's removal via a quo warranto proceeding, which we talked about yesterday. The governor then took to social media to clarify, sort of, that his filing was in line with a provision in the Texas Constitution and a separate portion of government code that grants this office the proper authority. My head's spinning too, and all of this is happening while John Cornyn, facing a brutal GOP primary against Ken Paxton for the Senate, badgered the AG all day long yesterday for doing all of this while he was on vacation. The grown-ups are fighting again. The word from around the Texas political scene, Harris County attorney and congressional candidate Christian Menefee, a bit of a legal expert himself, says of Governor Abbott's legal move yesterday, quote, "I read the brief. It's astonishingly stupid for many reasons, but start here. Breaking quorum is a well-established political tool used by both parties. It's not abandonment. No one is permanently giving up their duties. It's a strategy within a voting body to impact a potential vote. We know what bribery is. It's influence peddling, not fundraising from the public to cover travel and fines, standard political activity. These arguments are deeply unserious," unquote. And Galveston attorney and Democratic AG candidate Joe Jaworski says, quote, "It is remarkable that Texas Governor Greg Abbott, seeking to punish Gene Wu and the Texas House Democrats, filed a suit in the Texas Supreme Court which he had no standing to file, and the Texas Solicitor General, at Ken Paxton's direction, has urged the High Court to dismiss it. Abbott got some bad legal advice. Now the Texas Republican machine seems disorganized. Round one goes to the Dems," unquote. Speaking of that AG race, let's get into mention here that one candidate for Attorney General has revealed himself to be an unapologetic and unrepentant racist. Adam Zuvanich at Houston Public Media covers Houston State Senator Mays Middleton, who thought he'd come up with quite the zinger when he tweeted on Monday, quote, "Is Gene Wu back in China?" unquote. That tweet's still up as of this morning. Fellow Houstonian and State Senator Molly Cook, who's accompanied the House quorum breakers out of state, responded to Middleton's tweet saying, quote, "This tweet makes it hard for me to believe y'all when you say you're not undertaking racist gerrymandering," unquote. Middleton's comment also drew backlash from the Bay Area Democratic Movement, which yesterday called for the senator to, quote, "apologize and or resign." Senator Middleton represents a very diverse population in the Bay Area. The state does not need an individual running for the highest legal office in the state who spouts off racist comments. Middleton claims to be a conservative and devout Christian, but making racist comments are neither a conservative value nor a Christian value, unquote. And I hate to courteously disagree here, but modern conservative Christian groups have lately become quite bold in their foundational belief that people of different races and cultural backgrounds cannot in fact fully assimilate with one another, and that they view white Protestant Christianity as the rightful ruling class in America. It's time we started calling it like it is, because Mays Middleton sure ain't pretending anymore. All this sets up an early test for the National Democratic Party as they look forward to the 2028 presidential cycle, when they may or may not be facing down Donald Trump once again, which is a level of crazy I'm not ready to tackle quite yet this morning. John Bowden at The Independent writes that the ongoing Texas fight provides opportunities to the National Dems amidst growing demand among progressive-leaning voters that they show some backbone against MAGA. And the governors who are stepping up can certainly be seen as an early version of the Democratic contenders in 2028. California Governor Gavin Newsom, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, New York Governor Kathy Hochul, Maryland Governor Wes Moore, and New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy have all been given an opportunity here to display some of that backbone. We'll see in coming weeks how that goes. Ironic that all of this is happening as the 60th anniversary of Texan Democrat and U.S. President Lyndon Baines Johnson's signing of the Federal Voting Rights Act into law on August 6, 1965 arrives today. Extremists have been working hard to overturn it ever since, and the ongoing drama in Texas is just the next chapter. Jim Crow 2.0 is targeting black and brown Texans, focused on stealing the voting power that the Voting Rights Act cemented 60 years ago. At Progress Texas, we ask that you help us continue to shine a spotlight on the truth. From our coalition work introducing the Barbara Jordan Texas Voting Rights Act in the 89th legislative session, to rapid response coverage of Stop the Steal rallies, which were attended in person by thousands and digitally brought to hundreds of thousands, to shaping the narrative in legacy media and ongoing podcasts with lawyers and allies like the NAACP LDF. We are all over and reaching millions of Gen X, Millennial, and Gen Z Texans. See a link to join us in solidarity and celebration of the 60th anniversary of the signing of the Voting Rights Act. As this fight continues, see the show notes. Austin listeners and soccer fans, take note. We're planning a live podcast taping event for Monday, September 15th with All-Star Austin goalkeeper Brad Stuver. We're going to be talking about Brad's progressive activism along with his wife, Ashley. Both of their ventures into political advocacy, including their own Brad and Ashley Stuver Foundation, and the courage it takes for public figures to stand up for what's right these days. All happening at Hop Squad Brewery in North Austin near the stadium and co-hosted by Landon Cottam of the Austin FC podcast Moon Tower Soccer. Sponsorship opportunities are up now, and individual tickets will go on sale soon at ProgressTexas.org. Again, mark your calendar for Monday, September 15th for our live podcast recording event with Austin FC goalkeeper Brad Stuver. Our mission at Progress Texas is to counter the billionaire and corporate-funded conservative disinformation machine at a moment when funding for public and independent media outlets and media figures who don't bow down to MAGA is under full attack. Progress Texas relies on listener support to keep going, but we've lately come within 3 months of running out of funding. Thus, we're continuing our summer vacation membership drive. If just 10% of our audience signed up for a monthly donation of at least $10, we'd be good for the next year, and we'd like to avoid going on a permanent vacation. We could use your support now as a monthly contributor. Go to ProgressTexas.org. Thanks to brand new monthly supporters Ed Limbaugh, William Billieu, and Jessica Graves. We appreciate all three of you very, very much. That's the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch for this Wednesday, August 6th, 2025. Links to all these original stories can be found in our show notes. Progress Texas is a nonprofit rapid response media organization promoting progressive messages and actions. While campaigns come and go, we're the permanent home for progressive media and action in the Lone Star State. I'm Chris Mosier. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day. We'll see you again tomorrow morning.